making financially sound decisions as well, Myles. And then I think another one that kind of piques my kind of interest in how this club is progressing is selling Mason Greenwood. Now, clearly he couldn't feature at the club anymore. I think we were quite clear on we didn't want him back at the club, Dave, as Man United fans, did we? And I think most United fans, most sane grown-up United fans anyway, that don't go on Twitter, generally feel like that as well. But selling him for a decent fee, and also putting in there a 50% sell-on clause, because he's probably going to be sold for decent money, you'd think, at some point. Seems like smart business again, Myles. Is this a change for Manchester United, do you think?
Oh, I don't know how I feel about this one. I'll be honest. Because I don't like talking about this as a business venture. I know that it is. And ultimately, it's an asset that the club have that they can make a lot of money off. And yeah, they've got to protect themselves in that way. And it's better than seeing him back in the side. But I feel a bit uncomfortable about United just profiting off this situation. And the sell-on clause, again, logical from a business point of view, but it's maintaining that attachment to him a little bit. And I really want to see what United's response is to some of the kind of outcry for what are you going to do with this money? Because inevitably it will go back into the club's books. But if they are smart enough and moral enough to think about investing some of it into a lot of support groups, a lot of charities, Definitely. Or even using it to kind of bring up the women's side and really highlight how they want to forward that kind of profile in the game, then excellent. But do you know what I mean? It's really hard to look at this well done United for moving him on, because it's not without its own payback to them as well. I don't know, maybe I'm the wrong person to talk about this.
Apparently there's a buyback clause in there as well, which I thought was strange.
You're joking?
I don't think there would be. Surely not.
I think I saw it in Telegraph.
It's a sell-on clause, I understand, because, I mean, you can imagine, and what's he gone for, like 20, 25 million initially?
I think it was 30, wasn't it?
Which is quite lowball from a player that he was and the prospect he was. And I can see that United have invested a lot of time in this young prospect, and, you know, they had high hopes for him, and he was worth probably upwards of 50 million at one point, you know. Who knows what he could have been worth. For his stupid actions, he's basically made himself unplayable for the club. And it was a moral minefield anyway, even having him still associated with the club, and a legal minefield as well, because they couldn't just cut his contract. Like, it was found not guilty, basically, for whatever you think about that verdict. That's a whole other matter. So they had to do the best thing they could for the club and for the player. I think loaning him out was the best short-term move, and selling him and trying to get the best money they can for him feels like trying to get some return on the investment they've put in him in some ways, don't you think?
I think there's definitely a view there that he was this asset that's depreciated in value massively. I think I agree with you saying that I think he was worth potentially 80, 90 million upside potential. And the club view that like this is a business view. They've lost a massive portion of money there through this obviously situation, and you know, again, it's not nice to talk about, but this is seen as recouping some of that money. But it's obviously down to United what they do in terms of almost looking to save the situation as such, because they've not come out of this in a great light at times. I mean, you look at the statement from Richard Arnold. That whole situation was terrible.
It really was badly handled.
Really ugly. Yeah, it was awful for the club. And I do agree with a lot of people are saying, and there's a lot of it on social media. But I'm in a situation now where I'm just so tired of it all. I'm just, everyone wants it to go. We don't ever want to revisit this. But again, there are things that need to be fixed and ensure that things like this don't happen again, and the club deals with this matter in a much better way.
Yeah, it's probably symptomatic of the way the club has been run. It's kind of ignored its moral compass to an extent, and that's not like how United were when we were growing up. And I think you're right, Myles, to a degree. We almost need to offset the guilt and the negative impact this has had on the club by doing something positive with the money they've received. I don't know what, but I feel like that would be a really positive thing to do.
It would, but it's more than being about the club. It's more than a PR kind of stunt or campaign. It is down to the morality of it. And I think it's difficult because we are football fans, and you two in particular, you're Man United fans. So, of course, you're thinking of it from a sphere of, I want my club to come out of this well and not do the wrong thing. But take the football club out of it for a second and just think about the situation in isolation, that's what's most important. Are they doing the right thing, not from how they are perceived, not from what's going to keep their fans happy, but legitimately the right thing? That's what needs to be done, because that's not been done at any corner of this venture by anyone, it seems. And it's difficult because you're in a situation where the alleged victim obviously has forgiven him and they've moved forward in their lives, and therefore some people will openly argue, well, if they've been able to do that, then we all need to move on from it, and it's fine for Manchester United to kind of move in this way. But I don't think that accounts for the feelings of everyone else that idolises the club and will have their own internal struggles about domestic violence in particular. And we know that it goes hand in hand with football far too often. And it's a really awful situation that really this would be an absolute landmark opportunity to showcase we do want to support everyone in their following of football. Like, you've got girls, Mike, that are massive Man United fans. And wouldn't it be so wonderful to be able to say, the club you follow make me proud in standing up for you? That's an amazing thing that they could do. But it feels like now it's gone so far down the line. Dave's right. You want it done rather than it being right sometimes because they missed the opportunity. The boat sailed. So I don't know. It's a difficult one now. I don't really know how the club move forward with this one, but at least he's off the books. I suppose that's a start.